Hello everyone. I didn't think I'd do this, but the more I looked into it, the more is that there is actually a lot of information regarding the invasion mode now. So I'm gonna make a video on it, despite this information coming from other content creators. So a lot of images I've found from various channels showing them. The main one is Caboose, I think the name is. They had a lot to show. And the other one I know who has done this is Maximilian Dude. Problem is Maximilian Dude is a shit YouTuber and he was terrible at covering it. So most of the footage does come from Caboose because he actually did go in depth looking into it, whereas Maximilian Dude looks at basically fuck all. His video is awful at telling you the mode. And I just want to kind of condense all the information when I cover it. I'll give my thoughts at the end. So yeah, here you're seeing the loadout. And I think he just accesses it at all times. Tasman and Relic. Relic, I'm not actually sure what it is. Although we do see a shop that has like some bonuses. They're probably like consumables from like MK11 in a sense. Talisman, they actually changed the properties of your moves. So the one we were shown was like this one that gave you like fire projectiles, I think. And you can like upgrade it and recharge it or whatever, a forge. So that's interesting. And here you see all the stats, see your character, see your cameo. You can swap the character and cameo freely, due to what, but only within what's unlocked, because there seems to be stuff to unlock. You have a profile, which I believe is just for the invasions mode itself. I don't believe this is the overall level. Because we know there's also like a separate like character level thing for matches. And I believe this is separate, but I'm not 100% certain on that. But at level 10, they unlocked the cameo Sub-Zero, which is interesting. And also, it's weird because we keep seeing him without pupils in his eyes, and we keep seeing him with just regular eyes, and I'm not sure which one's actually in the game. Regardless, it seems like there's actually lots to unlock. Whether this means you are unlocking them to use in invasions or you're unlocking them in general, I don't know. But there's definitely something to unlock. So when you level up, your stats improve basically. As you can see, of like 2 of whatever, and it goes up to 4. And it even mentions stat points. They have these little tabs of information. This one says when your invasions level increases, the stats of all fighters increase. Each fighter will also gain 5 stat points. Would you like to assign these points manually or automatically? So I'm not sure exactly. Of course, we've seen the list of stuff, but yeah, I don't know. I don't know how it works. You can assign them. I don't know what doing automatically does. But yeah, you can basically just buff your characters for this mode, which I guess is kind of like an extension of the augments in MK11, except now it's much more condensed. It's just simple RPG stats. Something curious is that it says the season. We know it's the season of Spectre. There was a whole intro to it. At Cage's mansion, and it was trying to do a narration over everything. He was talking about how like his house is possessed or whatever. So it was all tying to the specific gimmick of like specters and stuff, which is interesting. Especially since we see here there is a time limit on this one. Of course, I assume that's not the actual time because, of course, that means the season's expired before the game even comes out. But it tells us that these seasons you've heard of, yeah, they are limited time. I would have hazarded a guess. We have no confirmation on anything serial times. It might be like a 30, like it's 30 days for each one, kind of like a Combat League season, like where it's just a month long per season, and another one shows up. I don't know what exactly it affects. I guess the board you're on, I guess we're going to call it boards. What we were shown was there's actually 2 areas, there's Cage Mansion and the village. So I'm not sure. This is admittedly a bit concerning because I thought a big appeal of this initially was, oh, you have all this, but you can get it at any point in time. However, this suggests that the events will change and thus rewards will change. And of course, being in limited time is quite concerned. Although, considering how much effort went into it, because they have like a full intro, it probably affects like the actual board of the game. I assume they'll rotate them in and out. Um, I don't know though. I hope that's the case. But I don't like having limited time stuff anyway. The benefit is this will probably mean this, like every month or so, this will get new stuff and it will have new content or have a new thing to explore. It makes the mode replayable, but not just for the rewards per se, because you do have the actual mode itself changing, unlike Towers of Time, let's say. So I think there's pros and cons to this. Of course, there's always the concern that, oh, we're going to miss out on rewards. But I don't know. I don't know how it would work. And maybe each season, maybe they add, like, maybe there are new cameos that they just bring into each season to unlock. Could be soon, you can unlock a Sub-Zero one. Which would make a lot of sense, because it is, the cameo selection being quite small is quite strange. I mean, you have a lot of NPC cameos. So I really don't know what's the deal there. We'll just have to find out. But yeah, there is a timer on these seasons, and they seem to each be unique. We also had like footage, and for some reason, the people who were showing these off, none of them clarified what it was. It looked like ending footage for like Scorpion's ending maybe, and it showed like a Sub-Zero like killing his family and he gets really angry. You know, regular Spectre Scorpion stuff, which I assume is for this specific invasion theme. So maybe there's like stuff like that, like a sort of tower ending pertaining specifically to the season, because that can't be anything to do with canon, because this is the Spectre Scorpion, this is like Hanzo Scorpion. So I don't know what the deal is there again, but I will just share what I know. But we can only speculate on what the hell is going on there, because the people who got the footage didn't bother clarifying. I mentioned rewards, so what else is there? There's basically everything, because it is the crypt replacement. It kind of acts like it seems like a Towers of Time replacement. It seems like a crypt replacement. It kind of bundles all this in one, which I honestly quite like. I feel like you should condense everything into one area. I feel like getting rid of the crypt is kind of a shame, but there's a lot of crypt elements to it that do make it feel like, oh, the mode's not necessarily dead. But of course, it's very different to the crypt because you're fighting enemies and stuff. But yeah, you get rewards for completing stuff or leveling up. Here, I believe it's like level 7. No, profile level 6, and you get 7 rewards. That's what that means. Unlocking stages, which would suggest the cameo Sub-Zero is not just for it is for like the older modes, not just invasions. Since there's also stages to unlock here, which I quite like. I would not be opposed to them having a ton of unlockables again, because other previous NRS games there's been like a stage to unlock, variants of stages to unlock in X and 11. I don't think 9 and 8 stages to unlock, and then like a single character to unlock. So it would be cool, more unlockables, for sure. I was going to say stuff. Announcer packs are back. There's a Johnny Cage announcer pack again. And unlike the MKLM one, this seems like it will actually be easily obtainable. And that third thing that's like the blue and the, I guess, yellow shit, that is a palette, is what I believe they're calling them. And these are just like the different skin color palettes for a character. It seems like they are separating the color schemes from the actual unique skins, and I like that. That is exactly what I want. The unfortunate part is we clearly have to unlock the color palettes again. However, I think this might mean if you unlock the color palette, you can apply it to any skin. It's not like you need to unlock it for each skin. So I think that's definitely an improvement. The glasses, that's a gear piece for Johnny, of course. Gear is back, which is a really good thing, I think. The grind for Mankind was terrible, but the actual gear system, I quite liked it. It just adds more customization. So I'm really glad that wasn't being removed, and they're just trying to fix how you unlock it all. Although, of course, again, mentioned there's time limits and stuff. So there might be some limited time stuff, and that's a concern, but I don't know yet. Most interesting here, you've seen the palette, Cyrax palette. So there's palettes for cameos. So this suggests there's a lot of customization there. We knew they would have costumes because we've seen an MK1 and an MK3 cameo Sonya. But this is really cool. You got palettes for them. This suggests that wherever your customized menu will be in the game, there's also one for cameos. And that's quite exciting. I don't know how much customization there is. I assume they wouldn't have gear pieces, but they definitely have costumes. I don't know how many. And also the alt colours. And I think having the swappable colours actually kind of works, even if the colour schemes are kind of random, because you can match your cameo and your playable character. So, I mean, for example, like MK11 has so many colour palettes, but so little fit. Here you can have, say, like a orange Baraka, which we see. He kind of looks good in orange, to be fair. You can pair that with like Darius, let's say, or you can change Darius to be a different color, and you can just kind of match their colors, I'd assume, if they have the matching colors, that is, because I do not believe the palettes are universal. Each character seems to have their own set of palettes, if I were to hazard a guess. So yeah. Interestingly, this is also apparently for cameo mastery, so I'm not sure the leveling up works per se. But it is interesting, and it does make the cameos feel more important again, which is, of course, a good thing. I did mention there was Tarkon. This is just the first fight to do it for a lot, and you got to see a lot of the different colour palettes. This is clearly, of course, a palette for Baraka's default skin. And they name Cannibal Warrior, so you'll just have regular... If I say regular, it's not that, but you'll be finding regular versions of the characters, to my knowledge. But they just rename them to like a generic name. As you see, Cannibal Warrior. Don't know why they just call them Tarkon Warrior, but you know. And then they just have a regular cameo, which is interesting. And then there's modifiers, like Henkel has time. I've seen ones where like the portals and the rockets come out. I don't know in depth what modifiers are there, but yeah, there'll be modifiers that make these matches different to regular fights. So there's that. It also tells you navigation. Again, it's kind of like a board where you got locked areas, you need keys and stuff to go to different ones, and there's a lot of hidden stuff. There's lots of things to do. There's various stuff. There's even towers, just individual towers to do. This sounds like 4 fights in a tower, which I think that's interesting. There's, I guess, these little mini games where you're trying to dodge these green fireballs. And even testing your might spec, which suggests to me that stuff like Test of Sight will also return. That's what I really like seeing, and let's see some of the items. The Collector's Back, which I'm quite happy with, because it's continuing on from the MK11 crypt idea of him being the merchant. And I thought that was just a dead concept because the crypt was gone. But he's here, he's still the merchant. I think that's really cool. That is a good way to keep Collector around. He's obviously not the most popular character, nor a very story-relevant character. So just to see him back is pretty cool. I do quite like that. And here's his shop. You can sell your own items, and you can buy stuff. So this is called a consumable. So I suppose they are different to relics. And then you have the cost. I suppose that's just coins, although they do look different. It's probably a different currency. Oh, saying that, no, because this is the only place where you'd be spending your currency. So I'm not sure how that works. Although, actually, no, these might be a different currency. Actually, no, what am I on about? No. Regular coins might just be gone because there's no chests to just pay to unlock, to my knowledge. So there might just be like these coins just for like the shop, right? Rather than coins for cosmetics because the crypt's gone. I keep forgetting that, my bad. You can also go to this guy who has the forge, you can teleport to him. Upgrade, recharge talisman. Again, I mentioned before, these are basically buffs. They change the effects that you do, give you like different properties, your attacks and stuff. But you know the specifics, and it's probably different ones. But yeah, it's interesting. And then I quite like the boss out, and especially that it's expanding on it's kind of expanding on the regular stages, because something I've always critiqued the 2D style of MK games for is the fact that you can't really explore them, of course. And they are just backgrounds at the end of the day. As cool as they do look in this game. But here you kind of get to expand on these stages a bit more, at least the areas. I think that's quite cool. And also leaves the potential to just have more areas that aren't even in the game per se. And maybe if these seasons do come alongside updates that add new content, like maybe a new cameo, maybe a new stage, then your season can be set in that stage and you have to play through that season to unlock the stage. I don't know. Again, I think the only problem would be the fact that they are limited time. Of course, they'll probably rotate back, but you miss a season, then you just have a stage locked for however long. And again, there's no confirmation on that being how it works. That's just speculation on my part. So overall, I am cautiously optimistic on this mode. But the first snippets I saw of it, I was not excited because my immediate conclusion was it was like World of Light from Smash. And I still kind of stand by that in a way because, again, you are just doing these fights against regular opponents. And there's like these little mini games, again, like World of Light. But at least that's variety. It isn't just the fights with the modifiers. And it just seems relatively less annoying what is there. And it just seems like more stuff in depth. And again, it's like your progress is actually sticking around. Again, it's not like your tiles are changing each hour. You just have this big, vast experience that's probably got a lot of content to put your time into. And it seems to last for a decent amount of time. But the thing is, it rotates. And that's where my concerns come in regarding what's limited time and does this affect your A/B stuff. We don't know exactly how the unlocks work. We've been told that depending on which characters you pick, you are going to get more stuff for that character, which makes sense, but I don't know how that works per se if you're unlocking other stuff. What it might be is the stuff you can just always unlock. There's stuff you can always just unlock for characters, and playing as them, you can just get them randomly, if I were to guess. And then each season has these set rewards, because I saw a lot of Johnny Cage unlockables by going to the Cage's mansion, for example. So maybe that's the case. Regardless, it is quite concerning to see something on a limited time base. It'll probably be better if a new season comes out and you can just select your season. But I don't know. I don't know how it works exactly. We'll just have to find out. Overall, this is better than Towers of Time, I would say. You can't AI farm it though, so if you don't like the mode, you're kind of fucked. But to be fair, it does look like there's a decent amount going on. It does look like a fun time. It does look like good single player content. It's not my sort of thing because I prefer side modes that aren't just the regular fighting. But this just has a lot of depth than I had initially expected, so I was a bit rash to judge it. But so yeah, I am cautiously optimistic on this mode. And depending how they do it, I could be interested in getting the game. I don't know. But it looks interesting, and we learned some cool stuff like the palette system and whatnot. At least stuff that I like personally. And I like the look of the boss exploring stuff. So it seems interesting. It does, and it seems like a good variety of stuff to do in them. Even though again, it's not. It's very similar like side game stuff, and modifiers and whatnot. Nothing too crazy, but it just seems like it's well put together. And of course, it seems like a single place to get your rewards, but could be wrong on that. Again, we'll just have to see. Overall, I like this. And that's what I have to say. I like it, but it could go south. So yeah, I don't know. We'll find out, of course. So thank you for watching the video, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye. Sorry, we are not actually finished. I lied. I found some more information from IGN. They cover basically the context for the season, and it shows the Scorpion art stuff. And it's basically like just an alternate universe storyline. So I assume it's non-canon. It's best if you let the IGN man explain it.
Every season. The story for the first season focuses on the tragedy of Scorpion and how a version of Hanzo Hasashi has been going through timeline after timeline trying to find one where his wife, Harumi, had avoided being killed, only to find that only one such timeline existed, the timeline of MK1, where Harumi is alive and well, but also happily in the arms of Kuai Liang. And so this season's boards will all center around Scorpion's rage and his vow to burn this timeline. Boards are all...
Yep. So that's fucking absurd, and clearly each season will get a new story sort of thing, but these will all be crappy alternate universes, I guess. Although it might be canonical, the canon part might be Kuai Liang being with Harumi, which, by the way, on my take on that as the Lord, that is terrible. That is so bad. And you can't explain that. You can't explain that. Why would Liu Kang just give Kuai Liang Hanzo's life? That would be absurd. What I assume is the case is Hanzo is living a peaceful life with his wife and son. If that's not the case and Harumi is around with Kuai in canon, that's super weird. And I feel like that has to be canonical, or else why would you have this premise? So that's just sad. And I hope it is just some non-canon nonsense that we can overall ignore. But I don't know. Also, they did clarify the actual time for seasons. Apparently they're going to be 6 weeks each. However, there's only like 9 hours of gameplay, which is a good amount, but within 6 weeks, 9 hours of content? I don't know. This is maybe a bit more iffy on the mode. I'm really not sure how the rotating seasons work. Whatever the story context for the seasons are, clearly they suck. Although it does open the potential to get like more character-specific feelings, and be used to introduce other characters. Perhaps with like the Kombat pack, there's like one for each character, for example. There's a lot of potential with the idea, but I can't imagine it will be fulfilled knowing how NRS do stuff. But 6 weeks at least is a very decent amount of time. You probably got plenty of time to not miss anything. However, that is also troublesome because the fact it's going on for so long, maybe it doesn't return. Or, it's a concern because maybe there actually isn't that much content. Maybe there isn't that much replayability, because 9 hours of content for the portion of 6 weeks, if you are a regular player, that's not going to be consistent. Although it is a side mode, so it's not terrible, but I don't know. It feels like something that just shouldn't have a limited time set on anything, or they should just add another chapter, if that makes sense, per updates. But oh well. That is all the information, to my knowledge. I hope I haven't missed anything else, but I figured I'd add this to the end of the video. So yeah, thanks for watching, and I'll actually see you later this time. Bye.